We get to get into the research, baby. I get to fumble around lab and not know what I'm doing and try to make stuff work, and it might not. I
said thank you, I designed it. Not your average girl.
Today, I wanted to give a recap on my first 2.5 years of graduate school. And I know that that's a lot of time to try to, cover in a recap. But if we being frank, I made a first year recap video and it was whack. Okay. And not to mention that, there was a certain point that I hadn't crossed yet in this so-called graduate school game, and I wasn't trying to make no YouTube video on graduate school if I ended up failing graduate school or something, if I'm just being honest. But I'm still here. So here we gonna do a 2-year recap. All right. Oh yeah. We're gonna keep this to the main points of the graduate school process, okay? And just a recap over that. And all the other things that are at play, behind the scenes, we can save that for another time. This is just gonna be about graduate school, period. So just a brief background on me and my graduate school journey. What's up? I'm Taylor. I'm a graduate student. I like plants and I like microbes, specifically bacteria. And what I like about plants and bacteria is that they can interact. So anyway, I'm in this plant and microbial biosciences program, but the main thing you need to know is it's biology. So if you want to call it hard science, if you will, you can. I'm in a 5-ish to 6 year PhD program. All right, so with that,
let's get started.
Okay, year 1. Started graduate school 2018-2019 school year. The first year is all about rotations and classes, and that's it pretty much. And with rotations, what you're doing is basically joining a lab temporarily for about somewhere between 8 to 10 weeks. You can do more, you could do less. The point of the rotations is to sort of feel the vibe of the lab, honestly. You get to know the culture, you get to know what it'll feel like to be in that space, for the next couple of years, and also give you a chance to meet the people that's there and the PI. And the most important thing is that you identify a space that you don't mind spending the next couple of years in. Along with that is classes too. They try to emphasize make sure you pass in your classes, and you shouldn't be trying to be productive during your rotations. But it's we all love research, so obviously we gonna like being in lab more than we like being in class. And honestly, it did feel like that. At that point, classes was just classes, okay? I used to really like class. You know what I'm saying? I like to learn. I consider myself a lifelong learner. But this whole study, you got an exam that's going to determine your grade, which determines how well you do in the class. All that I was over that by the time I was a senior in college. Oh, first of all, disclaimer, I am not telling anybody to go to graduate school and not take your classes seriously, because the last thing you're going to do is lollygag in your classes and then try to blame me and be like, oh, Taylor, you said it was Handle your business. Did I enjoy taking all the classes that I took? No. But did I do well in them? Yes. So you need to make sure that you're doing what you need to do, okay? Okay. Anyway, yeah, so my first year, I did the rotations. That was cool. It was fun. Took the classes. And I ended up joining a lab twice. And basically, my first year was okay. I didn't have no complaints. I was really still just getting used to being a graduate student. And at that point, I was able to navigate well, because you got classes, that's part of your schedule. You add what times you're gonna be in lab, that's part of your schedule. And honestly, people have like projects mapped out for you to do. So you really just showing up in lab, trying this and that. It's all good. First year was good. But like I said, I had a recap video for that, and it wasn't all that. At that point, I hadn't taken what we call the qualifying exam, and I didn't want to make a YouTube video on like, oh, this is my recap of graduate school, and then I end up taking my qualifying exam and I end up not being in graduate school no more. Very unhealthy thoughts. Just want to put that out there. Like, so unhealthy to think like that. But anyway, going into this qualifying exam thing, some people might call it preliminary exam or prelims. You start preparing for that in your second year. Basically, it's the program's way of saying that you're worthy enough to be in the program. Not really. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know why we have the qualifying exam. I guess it's because they like accept you and they like hope that you fit and you can do this PhD thing, but then like they're like, well, we might have missed some stuff, so we just gonna give them a qualifying exam just to double check. I guess, I don't know, it's just how stuff is. I guess it was a lot of stress because they hype it up. This is the point where you're gonna get tested on something program related, and if you don't pass, you either get kicked out of the program, or you have to retake it, or you can get your master's instead. It's different options, and it's a lot on the table. And I honestly let, you know what I'm saying, the hype get to me. I really did. But I studied a lot. I did what I needed to do. I studied so much that I ended up messing my neck up and having to see a therapist for several months. That's how seriously I took it. And long story short, I did end up passing. Thank the Most High. But yeah, that was like a big hurdle for me. And looking back on it, it's like, yeah, you took it seriously and you passed, but was it worth the mental stress that I put myself through? And I just can't say with confidence that it was. But yeah, it's just like that. It'd be like that though. But anyway, second year, take your qualifying exam and classes and TA or IA or assist the teacher or assist the instructor, you know, just like program requirements. And all of that it went. I'm gonna just say it went. As y'all know, like the pandemic hit in the spring, so classes and TAing kind of like went a little wonky trying to transition into virtual classes and stuff. So moral of my story is I was able to get through year 2. So at that point, I owed you all a year 2 update, but at that point in this game called graduate school, I hadn't reached a certain point, and I was like, I don't want to share a 2-year recap if I don't get through this next point, and that's the thesis proposal. You propose your thesis, you know, after year 2. I just proposed my thesis 3 days ago, and it went well. So here I am recording this video.
Oh, let me think about like, ooh, what questions do I want to address? Ooh, what experiments will I do to address these questions? Ooh.
The summer after year 2, which was this past summer, I was supposed to be thinking about this, and I shouldn't have to talk about why that might have been hard to concentrate on. I shouldn't have to, but I did the best I could, and I was honestly, I was nervous that they might pick it apart, might pick me apart, and you know, just throw the whole thing in the trash, if I'm being frank. But they didn't. And my thesis proposal meeting was not at all like I expected. They were super nice. My thesis committee was super nice. I am now transitioning into like year 3, which is just research. Now I get to basically focus on my project and pushing it forward. We get to get into the research, baby. I get to fumble around lab and not know what I'm doing and try to make stuff work, and it might not. At this point of my graduate school career, I am satisfied. It took me feeling a lot of different things to be able to get to this point and to be able to even get in front of my camera and give a brief overview of my first 2 years of graduate school. It was at several different points where I didn't think, I guess I didn't think I'd be able to do this, and the fact is that I can. And it's really important to remember that whoever you are, whatever swag, whatever juice you got and that you bring to the table, to hold on to that and not let that go. And that's a super, super important part about my journey in graduate school, is that you can't let other people and situations you're not used to steal your own light. You just can't do that. But that's for something else. That's for another video. Moral of the story: classes, check.
Qualifying exam, check. Thesis proposal, check. TA, check.
Now it's just time to get in that bag. Now it's just trying to get into that research bag and make it do what it do. So thanks for watching my video. I'm gonna be bringing more updates because we here now. We got more to come. So peace and love.